few years, probably the last 6 years, I've attended a lot of protests. And it's my job. And often in that period, I've been asked to speak. Sometimes I've been asked to leave, but I've been asked to speak at protests where I've probably been sympathetic to the cause. And every time I kindly refuse, because I'm there to do a job, and my job is to give each and every person, like I've been doing here today, walk around, give the people that are attending a voice. Let the world hear what they have to say instead of hearing what the Guardian has to say about the people, that kind of. But when Brian sent me a message and said, Avi, will you speak at our rally for Israel in Brisbane? And I said to myself, how can I refuse to speak at a protest by Indigenous New Zealanders that are standing for my people, that are doing what is so unpopular right now around the world? They're standing strong. How can I say no? So I guess I only wanted to come up here and say on behalf, not as a journalist, I'm coming out of that position for a moment. I'm speaking here as a tiny, compared to you guys, very tiny, a tiny Jew that grew up in Australia and has seen what has happened since October 7 in Australia, and we've seen whether it's the majority of the Muslim world for their reason, whether it's the far left because of anti-racism or something like that, or it's the right that has now somehow found an allegiance with both the jihadis and the crazy Antifa left. But all of a sudden the Jews are under this attack, and the only people that seem to actually strike fear in the enemy at the moment are this group of Destiny Church, a group of Maori warriors. And I know that I speak on behalf of not just Australians, but some of the most popular videos I've shared online were Brian Tamakis videos of you guys doing, and I'll tag you down. But those videos have gone around the world, and I've seen in all the chats where Jews have become empowered and emboldened by your strength. And you should know you're doing that. Because standing for what is right takes a lot of courage, especially when it is so unpopular. And if the question is how unpopular it is, just go look at the comments in anyone's post who dares stand with Israel. Now, I came back from Israel just about a week ago, and I landed there. I went to Israel literally as we watched the horrific attack unfold. In fact, it was probably 6:45, probably 7 a.m. Israel time, where we started to see footage on X, on Twitter, that was coming through live feeds that Hamas was posting themselves on all sorts of their own social media. And I remember I called my brother at about 7:30 a.m. their time. And I said to my brother, because it was Simchat Torah, it's a Jewish holiday, it was also the weekend, and I said to my brother, what's going on? Like, are you seeing what's happening? And he's on to me, what are you talking about? In Israel, they didn't even know what was happening really. And I switched, I downloaded all the Israeli channels, the news channels in Hebrew, in English, whatever, and most of it was replays from the day before, not even a line at the bottom of the screen telling us that Israel was under attack. Israel, as you say, was asleep, and there's a lot of answers, there's a lot of questions that must be answered, but the country itself, we saw what was happening before they did. And then they started to wake up, and I knew, and I was talking to my boss, Ezra, within hours of that, we were discussing whether, I should go there, because I could see straight away first the narrative was, wow, because no person with a heart could watch the footage posted by Hamas. Alright, that's the important part, because suddenly people are questioning the footage that was posted by Hamas. Nobody with any sense of morality could not stand with Israel in that moment. And they did. The majority of the world cut out the extremists, did stand with Israel for a very short time. But I said to my boss, I go, I know this narrative, I know this story, and even I was shocked by how quickly it flipped. I said within 48 hours, within 2 or 3 days, suddenly, when Israel fights back, Israel's going to be the one condemned. The world is going to be standing against Israel because the world loves to feel sorry for the Jews after and during their massacre, but they'll never have their backs when they fight back. And I decided at that point with my boss that I had to drop everything and fly there. And I can tell you just my personal experience on the ground. I arrived in Israel, and I've never, I'm getting goosebumps just thinking about it. I was there with Benji, my brave cameraman, and we landed in Israel, and no one was on the streets. It was military, it was reservists, it was people going back to the army, it was police. But the average citizen locked himself in the house because Israel was in shock. The average civilian across the country was in fear at the time as well. This was only a few days after the attack. They were finding terrorists as far as Beersheba, which is the main city. So there were terrorists being found daily that had gotten out, that managed to escape the southern border. And so people were genuinely in fear. They did not know how it would happen. They couldn't believe that there was still, even when we got there were parts that were under Hamas control. I still can't believe I'm saying that. There were parts of Israel, and I'm as somebody who personally served, that was most of my deployment was Kfar Aza. Kfar Aza, which I visited now, was where they butchered all the soldiers there and went house to house, hunting Jews, butchering, raping, kidnapping, putting babies in ovens, beheading. Yeah, sorry guys, they didn't behead 40 babies. So now you're suddenly going to excuse the 2, 3 and the tens of others that were beheaded. The narrative got flipped, but it was, if anyone who questions it, what is that? I can't hear you, man. There's no, I know, there is no evidence of the, come here, let's talk about it. There's no evidence of the 40 babies. That's the, you see, it's people like that. Hold on, 1 second, let me do my job.
All right. Yep, they do that. They do come with quite violent attacks. Oh, good. Hey, look, Avi, you're not finishing, eh? Ephesians 6:12 talks about